welcome to this first episode of the new weekly news programme, Noble Reporting. I am your host, Dale Noble, reporting. Coming up, Red Conservatism. Prime Minister Theresa May turned to Socialist Party leader Jeremy Corbyn for support in Brexit negotiations. Parliamentary sovereignty continues to run smoothly as the Speaker of the Commons cast his vote in yet another motion. AOC's legal action. The Democratic representative from New York faces charges for breaching campaign regulation for a second time. And the end is Brunei for homosexuals as they face execution under new laws in a backward nation few have even heard of before now. But first, Theresa May has once again showcased her negotiating talent as she approached opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn for further talks on her Brexit strategy. The international community, the British public, and Conservative MPs alike were shocked at this surprise move. This action came as the Prime Minister's deal failed for a third time in the Commons. Reaching out to the opposition and coming to an arrangement would have reopened negotiations with the EU to extend Article 50 further, thus pushing this issue further down the road and granting Theresa May more time to undermine the whole process. However, these talks came to no fruition in the end, despite reputable sources claiming that they had been constructive. This will irritate an already frustrated public who will be left asking why the two largest left-wing parties cannot compromise on this issue. The SNP's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon was also less than fan-dabby-dozy about it all after being left out of negotiations once again. Unfortunately, we have no Scotland correspondent to discuss this issue due to cutbacks on unnecessary expenditure. However, we are reliably informed that those in Westminster will eventually get around to including the people of Glasgow and Edinburgh in the national debate. Chuka Umunna of Change.org, Liz Saville-Roberts of Plaid Cymru, and Caroline Lucas of the Jolly Green Party echo the sentiment of the SNP leader about the lack of cross-party talks. More on this story for the foreseeable future. Turning to Parliament now, and more votes were had this week to seek clarification on the direction that the government will take. The proceedings went as follows. Another vote was voted upon, aiming to give more votes to the Commons regarding votes that were priorly voted upon, in order to ignore the voters who voted in the 2016 vote. This vote resulted in a hung vote, requiring the Speaker's vote, which voted against the vote, much to the delight of the voting public. His vote brought the vote down, much like the votes that they had voted upon earlier in the week. This has upset the Commons for the coming Monday, though one parliamentarian was relieved, stating he had no more votes to give. Later in the day, the Commons voted upon a motion to remove No Deal from the negotiations. This vote was also close run, but managed to pass by a singular vote, seen by many as criminal. Sorry about this, we are just receiving some breaking news. We have been passed a transcript regarding the Lords' declaration after discussing the Cooper-Letwin amendment. We can quote, "After examining the Cooper-Letwin amendment and its place in the overall discussion of the UK's separation from the European Union, we have come to the reasoned conclusion that we are to pass this amendment. We know that this will undoubtedly upset many around the nation, particularly leave-heavy areas of northern England and Wales. But you can right off, we want our pensions. Undoubtedly, more will come from this story." In America, New York Representative Alexandria Occasional Criminal Cortez has been accused of running an illegitimate subsidy scheme during her campaign, violating FEC rules. What does this mean? Feck knows, but this is not good news for the popular Democrat, as these findings compound those of an earlier allegation last month, in which her chief of staff was claimed to have funneled funds from the campaign to his own business. However, acquaintances in the DMC have claimed this to be a smear job, stating somehow somewhere along the line, Trump and the Russians were most likely involved. They promise a full investigation into the hacking of Ocasio-Cortez, hoping to vindicate her 2 years down the line when the new Microsoft security update has been released. However, after the fiasco surrounding the Mueller report in March, they have made it clear that they will not seek the services of the renowned yogurt company this time around. Finally, the country of Brunei has come under scrutiny from the international community this week. For the interests of the listener, we must stress that this subject is sensitive in nature, and may contain content that some find unnerving. We suggest retreating to your safe spaces now. As a neutral broadcaster, we must also stress that we do not have all the information regarding this situation right now, and respectfully ask that you withhold judgment as all cultures are equal. The outcry came as the Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah Muazzaddin Wadhalullah, I think that's how you pronounce it anyway, gave his consent to the implementation of an extremely severe form of Sharia law. The most eye-catching law was the punishment of homosexual acts with the death penalty. It must be noted that these laws are not specific to Brunei. A number of countries already abide by similar laws, though no common link has currently been found. What is significant about this is that these laws have never officially been used. It can therefore be safely assumed that these new laws will not violate any human rights, as no active use of the laws will take place. So do not lose your head over this. In fact, the international community has roundly condemned the move, hoping to apply pressure upon the Brunei government. As an act of solidarity with the LGBT+ community, celebrities, diplomats and dignitaries have declared that they will boycott Brunei businesses, the most prominent protest coming in their degradation to use the not quite the best hotels, a sacrifice many people will surely empathise with. In the interests of neutrality, we have asked some supporters of the new laws to provide their opinions on the matter, though these seem few and far between. One individual on an online forum claimed that those affected are simply butthurt, though they were unclear as to whether this was meant figuratively or literally. It would seem that we have a little time left, so let's turn to the crisis in France and Macron's despotic regime against the Gilets jaunes. Okay. Just receiving word from the producer that we have indeed run out of time for this programme. Therefore, that is all for now from Noble Reporting, and I, your host, Dale Noble. Tune in next Sunday for your new favourite broadcaster in news.